So this morning, I want to talk about, or I want to go through the message this morning. The title of the message is Don't Leave Home Without It. Now, what is it? It can be a number of things. It can be don't leave home without your spouse, don't leave home without your kids, don't leave home without it. Well, I got three things I want to tell you or discuss with you this morning about you don't want to leave home without. The first thing I want to talk to you about or make mention of is you don't want to leave home without your ID. If you are any kind of driver, which a lot of us in here are, there's some of us in here who does not have a driver's license, and he does not need to have a driver's license until he's way much older than what he is, you have to have your identification. Your driver's license is what tells other people if you get pulled over by the police, say the Georgia State Patrol, like I don't know, I did a couple of weeks ago, you have to present your license in order for them to know who you are, and if, say, you're wanted, if you're a wanted individual, and I am wanted, my wife wants me a lot. But if you're an individual that is, say, searching for being sought after by the police or the FBI, they scan your ID and they say, okay, you're free to go. Or if you're wanted, then they ask you to step out of the car and they do their due diligence and place you in their vehicle. So your ID is super important because it describes and tells people who you are. It is the thing that describes and separates you from everybody else. There is no one else like you. You can be a basketball coach, a football coach. You can be a basketball fan, a football fan. You can be a grandparent, a grandmother, a grandfather. You can be a parent in general. It doesn't matter because your identification is what separates you. And so, because of that fact, I wanted to turn it, and it's like when you are a Christian, your Christianity is what separates you. It identifies you with what you believe. Your Christianity is your identification. It's your walk with Christ. It's your talk with Christ. It's your attitude towards people. It's how you present yourself. It's how you interact with another individual. It's how you have patience towards other people. It's a lot about your identification says a lot about you, and you don't even know it sometimes. And for the book of 1 Peter 2:9 says this: You are a chosen generation, a royal priesthood, and holy nation, a peculiar people. And I like the word peculiar, so I looked it up. Peculiar actually means strange or odd. It also means unusual, and it's also defined as particular or special. Particular or special. So oddly enough, when you become or you are a Christian, like we proclaim to be in this world, in this day and age, we have to be able to be a peculiar people. You're not going to be that type of people that just blends in with other people's. You don't just, they're doing this, it's a cool thing to do, let's go do it with them. You have to stand out. You got to stand out. That's what separates, a good athlete from an average athlete. That person blows this other person away on the basketball court, the football field. That's what people are looking for. It's what people notice about you. It's your identification. It is the thing that helps you represent your team. I'm a Kansas Jayhawk. Love them. I'm not going to not love them. Why? Because that's my basketball team. And I represent Kansas just about everywhere I go. I wear a shirt. I wear a hoodie. I wear my hat. I wear it to work. It doesn't matter to me. People can give me grief over it. I'm okay with it because I like who I like. It identifies me. When you're walking with Christ and you're talking with Christ and you're praying and you're reading your Bible, it identifies you. Ladies and gentlemen, we need to, when we leave home, not forget our identification. Why? Because it's what separates us apart from everybody else. It's what's most important about what you are. And if you proclaim to be a Christ-like person, which is what Christian means, then you are going to do everything you can to represent what you stand for, and that is Christ. How you talk, the way you talk, what you say, how you say it, just everything about you exemplifies what Christ did in his life. and that was love people. He had patience towards people. He presented the gospel. And some people are not very good at speaking. Some people don't have the opportunity to stand behind a pulpit. Some people they have public speaking in college. People fail that class because they just don't like to talk in front of others. So you know what? Let your life do it for you. Let your reputation do it for you. Let your example do it for you. Don't leave home without your identification. The second thing I want to point out that I think is important is this. Don't leave home without your map. If you're going to go somewhere, you got to know where you're going, right? You can't just pick a direction and go, that way. No, wait. That way. You can't do that. Now, some of the people in here might do that. I don't know, deacons maybe, but maybe not, I don't know. But you have to know where you're going. Therefore, you need a map. And the other thing is about a map is you don't just lay the map in the seat and say, okay, map, tell me where I'm going. No, it doesn't work that way. You have to read the map. You got to study the map. You got to know the highways and the byways. You got to know which exit to get off of. You got to know which exit to get on. I happen to know an individual that is a truck driver. Been a truck driver for a long time. He can tell you the maps because he's memorized the maps. And if the map if a road changes, he'll be like, that's not where that road was once before. You got to memorize it. You got to study. You got to know. I'm here to tell you something right now. A map leads you and it guides you in the direction a person is supposed to be going. It helps you plot your course in order to reach your destination. And check this out. A person can only go as so far before you have to turn back to your map. I present this idea to you that your Bible is your map. Your Bible is your roadmap to this life. Whatever circumstances you're going through, whatever problems it is, whether it's your children, whether it's a spouse, whether it's family members, aunts, uncles, moms, dads, grandparents, whatever the case may be, your roadmap, your Bible is going to give you the advice and the encouragement and a lot of times the examples that we need to be able to navigate those things. Whether it's patience, whether it's long-suffering, whether it's love, whether it's gratitude. Gratitude will change your attitude right off the bat. So think about that stuff. You have to know what your Bible, what your map says. It says in 2 Timothy 2:15, study to show thyself approved unto God, a work needed not be ashamed, rightly dividing the word of truth. A workman that needeth not be ashamed. When I think of the word divide, I think of how it's caused separation, right? You think about checkers. My little girl and I, we play Connect 4 at night. Now, we don't really play Connect 4. We just fill the game up, and then she tishes it down, and she says, Daddy, I won. You got it, baby. You win every single time. I'm okay with that. But you have to separate the colors. We have a red and we have a yellow. And she's always the red, and I'm always the yellow. And I asked her one time if I could switch. She says, no, Daddy, I like the red. You got it, baby. You win. But you separate them, right? You divide it out. And in me, personally, if it's telling me here that I'm supposed to rightly dividing the word of truth, here's a good one for you. Watch this. This is the front cover, and this is the back cover. And here you go. I just divided it. It just divided it. You got to split it open. You got to open your Bible. You got to know what your map says in order to be able to know where you're going. And if you don't know where you're going, guess what? It's not going to take very long before you're like, man, I'm lost. Now, lots of vehicles these days all have GPSs, and again, I know of a certain somebody who had a situation where they were following a GPS, and one GPS said go this way, and one GPS said go this way. Now, I'm not sure if the GPSs were using different satellites, or if this person was just in a bad mood, and this GPS was in a good mood. I don't know, but for whatever reason, this GPS took you the right way, and this one took them downtown to another place. And it's like even GPSs can be wrong. GPSs can be wrong, but if you just go the old-fashioned way, you just go with what you know, and that's follow the map. Follow your Bible, ladies and gentlemen. Follow the Bible. It says very simply this. John 16:33 says this, in the world you shall have tribulation. It continues on to say, but be of good cheer, for I have overcome the world. Listen, on this journey that we are on, the places we go, the things we do, the people we see, the people we meet, the things we talk about, the people we talk to, you're going to have those tribulations. And you can go places and you might forget your ID. That's okay, you can forget your ID, but it's probably not the best idea. But don't forget your map. Want to know why? Because this map reminds us. If you set that map on your chair right there, and if you forget to look at it, or you look over there, oh yeah, I was supposed to turn left right there. That map reminded me that I was supposed to make a turn. Your Bible and what's in it reminds us and encourages us, and I don't know, it just builds us up to the fact of that we're going to go through it. 2020's been that year. It's just been that year. Nobody wants to remember it. I think we've pretty much all the majority of people can be like, what was that year between 2019 and 2021? It doesn't matter. We'll forget it. Want to know why? Because it's just that type of year. And that's the tribulation that the Bible speaks of. You know, in this world you shall have tribulation, but be of good cheer, for I have overcome it. That's what your map tells you. That's what the Bible tells us. And it's exciting, and sometimes it's repetitive, and I know you guys get beaten in the head with it. Read your Bible, read your Bible, read your Bible. Well, you know what? It's important that we do so. Why? Because it's nice to know what it says so we can act it out, so we can live it out, so we can share that with other people. It says here in Psalms 118:6, I will fear not. Now this is David talking. David says this, I will fear not, what can men do unto me? Now, if that's not your map reminding you and telling you and giving you the direction of knowing that you're not alone when you're driving in this vehicle. Now, I'm not a person that drives alone a lot. I drive back and forth to work. But if I have someone to talk to, it's a whole lot better off because I am less likely to fall asleep. Because I'm a bad guy. I fall asleep. I get tired. I get bored. I don't know why. I can listen to music. I can play games with myself, A, B, C, looking at signs on the road and stuff. But I get tired. I get bored. And it's nice to have someone to talk to. It's nice to have someone there with you. And it says right here, I will fear not, what can men do unto me? It's a reminder. It's a reminder that what you're going through, where you've been, what you're going to do, what's coming up in front of you is not something that you have to do alone. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're going to leave home, I recommend that you do not leave home without a map. Point number 3. So, we've talked about your identification. We've talked about your map. But probably the most important thing that you have to have before you start or before you begin any kind of journey is what? Anybody? That's close. Your keys. Your keys. You have to have your keys in order to lock your door. You have to have your keys in order to unlock your car door. You have to have your keys in order to start the ignition. You just flat out have to have your keys, right? So I explained this in the first service, and I'll tell you this the second service because I like to embarrass myself. I'm okay with it. But we took a trip to Michigan. And while we were up there, my wife, who thought that she had our second set of keys to our car, left them at home. Now, I'm not blaming this on her. I thought she did it on purpose because they were hanging on the hook as we were walking out the door. So we get the key, we get the kids, we got the spouse, we got the bags, everything's packed. We get in the car, kick the key over, off we go. We're headed to Michigan. Well, guess what happens? We lost the car key. I did it. I'm okay with admitting it. I lost the car key. Now, I don't know how I lost it because I always keep it on a clip on my belt loop. I couldn't tell you if I lost it in a lake. I couldn't tell you if one of the 8 grandkids that were cruising around the house that we were at picked it up and went, hey, look, a key. I couldn't tell you what happened to it. They still haven't found it as of yet. But luckily enough, I have a fantastic neighbor that we gave a house key to so that he could keep an eye on our pooch. And he was nice enough to send me my other set of keys, like 2-day delivery, up to Michigan. And when I got back, I paid for the shipping. But you got to have your keys. That's the point of this whole thing. Your keys let you gain interest to your car. You can't even begin your journey without them. Your keys let you in and out of your own home. Listen to me very carefully. Salvation is the key to this world. This world's going to end. This world is not going to be here. We will all probably perish, pass away before this world ends. I hate to say it that way. Unless Christ comes back tomorrow, or maybe 5 minutes from now. I will be okay with that. But the point is this. You got to have your keys. And salvation is that key. The Bible tells us in Matthew 6:19 says this, lay not for yourself treasures upon earth, where moth and rust doth corrupt, and where thieves break in and steal. See, you can have the most advanced security system in the world. Fort Knox is like all the surplus of gold and all the cool stuff that we hear about it, but we never see it. And it's there at Fort Knox. Well, it's probably the most impenetrable place on the planet. But I guarantee you somebody somewhere somehow is trying to figure out how to break into it. Why? Because there's a whole lot of gold underneath there somewhere, and they like to get their hands on it. Who wouldn't? You can have Jackson EMC keep an eye on your house. You can have a big old honking Rottweiler and a Doberman Pinscher and all those kind of dogs keeping an eye on your house, but it's not going to stop somebody from getting in. Because what we value most should not be what's here. And that's the truth. It shouldn't be what we value. Well, I mean, we can value things here. Don't get me wrong. I love my kids. I love my wife. I enjoy my house. I love my family. But what's most important is what's waiting for me, what's waiting for them, what's waiting for my friends, what's waiting for my family. And that's what they need to know about. That's why it says, lay not for yourself treasures upon earth. Because eventually, all those things, the moth and the rust, it's going to corrupt them. And thieves are going to take them in, and it's going to happen. John 14:2 says this, in my Father's house are many mansions. If it were not so, I would have told you. I go to prepare a place for you. Want to know what he's got for us? He's got a key through salvation waiting for us in heaven. Now, I don't know about you. I think it's a nice house. It's the nicest house I've lived in since I've been able to purchase homes. I've only had 2. So when I hear the word mansion, it's like, yes, mansion. Yeah. It's like Kardashian big or something, 56 rooms and 128 bathrooms and 1,056 mirrors all over the place. And I already told the first service this, and you can laugh at me if you want, but I'm going to paint the whole house. I kid you not. In between, singing praises to God and just being with my friends and family in heaven, I'm going to paint my house red, yellow, and blue. And if nobody likes it, they can move down the block. It's just the truth of the matter. Down the block, which apparently heaven is going to be very large, so they can move as far away as they want. That's the way I feel about it. But it says, in my Father's house are many mansions. And one of those is mine. And one of those is yours. And guess what? We got the keys to them, as long as we don't forget them. Listen, salvation is that key. If you know that you're on your way to heaven, guess what? That key's just a burning a hole in your pocket. If you don't have it and you don't know, or you might have misplaced your key, or you had that key at one time and it's hanging on a hook and you forget it at home, or you just don't know, well, I know the ultimate key maker that would be willing to show you and give you the key. You head down to the nearest Ace Hardware and he can pop you one in the machine and pop you one out, and here you go. It says this. Luke 12:34 says this. For where your treasure is, then will your heart be also. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a lot of treasures on this earth. But the best and the best of the best treasure that we could have is knowing that we're going to heaven. You have to believe it with everything you got. That's what the Bible tells us. It says, love the Lord with all your heart, all of it. Proverbs tells us to lean not on your own understanding. Trust in the Lord with all of it. Trust in the Lord with all your heart.